Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine. Giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Hey, it's Mike and Blaine. It's episode 186. I'm Mike Marlin, also known as Cashflow Mike. That is my friend and my partner and the CEO, founder of Dry Run, the best cash flow forecasting software on the planet, Blaine Birch. What's up, man?
This is going to be a real fun episode today. I was looking over the topic it came up with, burn the old playbook. And I actually read it, the description of, where we're going. It's not 2019 anymore. We got to get to the 2025 playbook. So we're going to talk about some really cool stuff today and great topics, super topical. So yeah. Good call, man.
And if you're listening to us live, which I don't think there'll be many people because we're doing it on Monday, not Thursday. We're doing it on Monday because Blaine is traveling back to Canada. So welcome him with open arms and elbows up.
Yeah, they probably... I'm sure they'll have elbows up at the border to say, you owe us this much money to come across the border this year and all that. So, that's what it is. So anyway, we are leaving in a couple of days here and just in time because it's supposed to get up to like 100 degrees, and for you Canadians, close to 40 by the end of the week. So it's not a bad time to start making our way north. So
yeah, everything is popped up in our yard, man. The grass, the flowers, the trees. I'm excited. This is my favorite part. And I worked my ass off out in the yard this weekend. I got to tell you, just because we got these live oaks that are next to the pool, and live oaks are different, right? So most leaves fall in the fall, right? Most trees lose their leaves in the fall. These don't. They lose their leaves in the spring, and then they sprout these seed pods, and then they lose those, right? And scatter those in the wind. So it's like a whole month almost. It's like 2 weeks straight of just leaves and then seed pods. And these seed pods are like little worms, right? And they get in the pool and they're nasty. So it's just a constant, I have to go out there and just stay on top of it. Or it's a big nightmare with algae and all kinds of other stuff. Grows crazy. So if you don't stay on in the spring, you're going to feel it in the summer.
Yeah, that's not a lot of fun. It's, but you got a pool, so that's pretty good. When it starts to get hot there, you got something to go dive into. So that's a sweet,
yeah. What's funny is I walk around the house and I go, pool time. And everybody knows where I'm going. And I actually got Courtney and Mallory saying it too. They'll walk around and go, pool time. Because it's funny. Yeah, it's funny to say stuff like that.
It'd be nice. If we get us hot here, we can go sit in a little fountain in the backyard, and it's about the size of a little kid's bathtub. So it's not that exciting, right? A little pool or whatever. But we get, if it gets hot here, we just have to put up with it. So we're going to hit the road. So yeah. So now our fridge is down to almost nothing. So we're eating the weirdest food or out, and our beer.
Yeah.
Beer of the week. I have been clearing out our fridge and pulling out weird stuff every week. And the beer I pulled out this week, I got to show you because it's my wife's favorite beer, Drekker fruited sours. And this one is the raspberry and guava Braaaains double fruited sour.
I like it.
Double fruited smoothie sour. And let me show you what it looks like, because it is this really thick, heavy, fruited, sweet beer. They are delicious, but she generally won't share them with me, except that we really have to drink them all before we leave. So, because they won't last, I don't think, over the summer. So now I get to have a smoothie sour on here for the first time.
Yeah, well, that looks for good. I'd probably like that one. So I'll probably like that one.
Delicious, yeah.
All right, so I stayed right in line with topic, and not on purpose. Not on purpose. Okay. Wasn't planned. Yep. But then it also falls right in line with what you're saying about cleaning out the fridge. So Neighbor Pat, beer sponsor, brought me back down 3 episodes worth, right? So he goes, nice. Hey, I'm covering you for the next 3 episodes. So I didn't look and see what he gave me. He had them in a 6-pack container and there's 3 different beers, and I just put it in the fridge. I didn't even look at it. I pulled the first one out, and it's St. Arnold's Christmas Ale.
That's cleaning out the fridge.
That is way down at the bottom, and I'm like going, and it falls right in the topic of, burn the old playbook, right? Like, let's get rid of the old stuff, right? So
yeah, you
so
don't want to get onto something new.
But am I going, really, Pat? That's how you want your name out there, is sponsoring an old Christmas beer in April.
Yeah, and on to that, we got to thank our sponsors. And okay, so, still super nice of you, Pat. And thanks for the laugh as Mike drinks a Christmas ale today. And we've got some other sponsors too. And I got to mention out there, you guys, if you want to, first of all, please follow, subscribe, leave us comments. And you also, we're about to talk about our sponsors. You can also be a sponsor for as little as $5 a month. All you got to do is go to mikeandblaine.com and buy us a beer. And usually people we got sponsors out to the end of the year. Like they buy us beer for 52 weeks rare, but you can just buy us 1, buy us 5, buy us whatever, 20, 52, whatever you want. And we will mention you as long as you're a beer sponsor. We're going to talk about you, just like I'm going to mention one of our long-term sponsors, Rachel Barnett from Gentle Frog. And Rachel, it is amazing. If you have to learn QuickBooks Online, if you've got a small business, you're using QuickBooks, you need to know how to use it right. Go to gentlefrog.com, or even better yet, go to YouTube at Gentle Frog, and you can watch a ton of videos from Rachel as she shows you exactly how to use QBO and use it correctly. So thanks again, Rachel. I really appreciate it.
Hey, speaking of a longtime sponsor who's coming back, he just told me in a phone call this week he's coming back, the Cash Flow Cowboy. He says, I need to count up the rest of the year and just go ahead and invest for the rest of the year. So,
nice.
If you notice, I pulled out the glasses, right? Because I've never looked under the lid of a St. Arnold before. I just hadn't. Yeah. But there's a message. I'm like, oh, what the hell's that message? It says, I'll be back.
Nice. So it's a Bach is the type of, okay. Well, cause I was right in the middle of talking about Rachel and I looked up and went, who's the professor over there? I've never seen him in glasses before.
Well, because I only use them if I'm going to read, right, or something like that, or and they got everything. They got the progressive, but they're really just glorified reading glasses. Because I'm the type of guy that doesn't need anything far. I only need it close up. I'm the type of guy. If you hand me your phone and say, "Look at this picture," I'm going to push your hand away to where I can see it, right, without the glasses on. So mine is more about just reading glasses, but it does have some blue blocker on there. So every once in a while I start getting a little goofy. I'll put those glasses on, but they're hard to see because I can't get in the right damn distance to the computer.
Yeah. If I don't have my glasses on, it doesn't matter how far, how close, I'm not seeing anything. So I got the progressives. I got the whole, they change color outside, the whole works. But no, that's great. So we're looking forward to having one of our valued sponsors from last year back. Hopefully, no, let me know when he's back. That's going to be awesome.
All right. So our next sponsor, I tell you what, she's the one where I said somebody tested my client conversation coach, interactive role play course. She's the one that tested it. Karen Hairston up in Michigan went through my whole thing and gave me a spreadsheet of stuff that needs. It's alignment, this, and some of it is syncing. Like, cause I didn't really go through it very closely on captions, right? So the captions are matching what I'm saying. But I guess I can do that because I tried it. I'm like, oh, well, that's a lot of work. So we'll put that aside. We'll put that one aside for a second. But she went through there and spent a lot of time this weekend going through this for me. So I appreciate it because that's 2 things you did for us this week. You sponsored the show and you tested my client conversation coach. So thank you. And if you want to know more about her, one of the best cash flow forecasting or cash flow optimization consultants in the country, she's up in Michigan, 3ssmartconsulting.com. Just go there, 3ssmartconsulting.com. Her name's Karen. She'll love to help you out.
Awesome. Thanks, Karen. And Devin has been giving us feedback and everything. Devin's awesome. He's also, like you say, the biggest LSU fan on the planet. And he's been sponsoring us for a while now, Devin. Thank you again, Devin. So I've never met Devin. But I'm thanking you because I really appreciate you supporting the show. So, and we did see his LSU shirt on you last week. Well, I'll say his shirt, but you're all dressed up last week, all to support Devin.
You know what? He's got a big job. He's a big part of that Louisiana, college system, right? So, I mean, he's been around there for a while. He's been day to day in the operations. He lives and breathes LSU, but he's bigger than that, right? He's just bigger than one school. He's got a big job. So, appreciate what you do, Devin.
Awesome.
Good. All right. So, here's the thing. Here's where this came about, right? I think we're at that point, right? We're talking about get to the topic. I just happen to be thinking today, I'm like going, I'm not doing anything rarely that I used to do pre-COVID. That's what I'm saying. Hey, you got to throw out 2019. I'm going, none of this. I'm doing these AI videos and I'm testing out these different things and using AI different ways and even the strategy. I'm even doing less advertising than I used to. So I'm not even spending money that way. I mean, it seemed like my whole strategy has shifted in a short period of time. And I can't remember another time where it was that drastic a shift. I mean, come on, think about it. Early 2000s, they were still teaching like Zig Ziglar's sales tactics and techniques and cold calling for dollars and stuff like that. That's out the window. You're not calling anybody anymore. It seems like, at least me, I don't even answer the phone, right? Because everything that I get is not worth answering the phone for.
Yeah. And it's like my phone, unless you're in my list, it won't answer. It sends straight to voicemail unless you're in my address book. Right. And, every once in a while I'll get a voicemail, but honestly, lately I've been getting voicemails from the same, I block all the numbers, but they keep coming up with new ones. They're not even in English. So they're just like, they're it's like, guys, I'm not even your target market there. But I heard something the other day, and this is a little bit of bullshitish, but it's kind of related too, that I saw an article that was talking about with your voicemail, don't even use your own voice on your voicemail. And I think it'll be the same thing. If you answer the phone, someone can be recording you because they can actually, if they get a big enough sample, they can use your voice and make an AI voice. And that can sometimes be used for getting past security in some places and that. So I went and actually changed my phone to just like the robotic, leave a message or whatever, because I'm like, I don't want my voice even on my voicemail anymore. That I'm like, everything's changed. So all the stuff you do and everything, but also the risks and the things you got to watch out for. Couldn't even imagine a few years ago.
I'm just going to laugh at you. I'm like, you realize we did 186 hours of voice and video that people can just grab off the damn internet, right?
Yeah, but it's not on my voicemail. Okay, point taken.
I'm like, going, what? That's where you protect yourself? What about YouTube?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Point taken. So now next week, all of our videos will be up there. It'll just be like, welcome to it's like a little robot voice we'll put in. So no, okay, good point. That was my knee-jerk reaction. Oh, I still don't even want because all I get are scammers. There's a few people that know me, but it's basically all scammers. So they don't even have to hear my name.
All right, so I bought this thing called Aura, right? It's AURA, and it goes out there and searches for your stuff on the dark web and automatically puts requests in to remove from malicious sites and stuff like that or whatever. So it's called Aura. It's like about 14 or $20 a month. I can't remember what it was. It's not very expensive, but it also does call screening, right? I mean, it also does, credit stuff, just as like LifeLock as well, where anybody uses your stuff, it's going to tell you that it popped up. So I'm like, it's the best one I've found. I just started using it last year. And man, it's fantastic. I mean, this is a great product. So AURA, I forget what it's called. AURA, and credit monitoring is what it's for, but it does a lot more than credit monitoring. Okay. But fraud alerts, I mean, of course, what does it do? Yeah. Credit, financial transactions, credit scores, dark web, password breaches, all that type of stuff. So, and it does some of the work for you, right? It will do some of the work of cleaning it up and getting requests for people to remove you from scam list or, these email lists and stuff like that you get involved with. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah,
So check it out.
That out.
Yeah, give it a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So when one of the things I thought about when I was typing this up, I'm like, going, you know what? One of the things Blaine's always brought up is raising money, how the VCs went from dump and go, right? Just blah, blah, blah. Just you just spend. Yeah, I want you to spend all the money you can on marketing and pushing this thing out there and just go, go, go on sales. And they didn't care about profit. They didn't care about cash. They wanted you to burn cash, right?
Yeah.
And that's completely shifted. I mean, we've talked about that where, hey, now they want to see, can you be cash flow positive? Right? Can you actually make money in this business? Because they figured out that, 1 in 100,000 or 1 in a million are unicorns. Everybody else loses money.
Yeah. Yeah. And you could make money off of like a whole pile of those if you actually had some fundamentals of business. Yeah. The moniker that we used to hear all the time and use was called blitzscale. Anything to grow, burn cash. And when you run out of cash, you just do another round, burn more cash. Also, you can scale really, really fast. And then it was literally like I think it was over a couple of weeks. All of a sudden they all said they coined a term. I remember mentioned this before, and it really annoyed me because they made up a term called default alive. It's break even, man. And it basically is like get in the black, but they don't want to say that because they were so drastic on one side. They had to make up a term. Oh, default alive. Yeah. You know what? That's been around for like about a billion years.
It's what we all do every day. Yeah. It's what we do every day.
Yeah. And I think now they actually, they've switched over. So they actually will say they like companies that are in the black, which, it's like after a couple of years, they're like, okay, now we can actually say we don't mind a little bit of profit where it used to be a dirty word, right?
Yeah. So what happens with these things is, I mean, I've run into it with people I consult with when they lived through that era and that was their only business experience. Mm-hmm. It's hard to go the other way. You go, no, we need to have that, or this marketing thing, or this X person, or this location, or there's all this stuff that they were frivolous on that is darn hard to go back to. It's like living in a mansion. Now you got to go live in a trailer. Right? It's hard to do that. Well, guys like me, probably you, everything I've grown has been from the leanest because I can get the cash flow positive real fast and then scale it with my own money. So that's a lesson a lot of people don't learn.
Yeah. Like, it's the more I talk with people that have taken in VC dollars, it's really effective for a very small sliver of businesses. You have to be a very particular rapid growth, but capital intensive business. Like it all has to run together and then you take your crack at it. But that's not the majority of businesses and startups. The majority of them, there's some real value to running lean, solving that problem, solving your customer acquisition, solving the problem for the customer, getting revenue in, growing off your own dime. It's slow, much slower, but boy, like these businesses were getting cranked out. Like 9 out of 10 were just getting into the meat grinder, right? So it's changed a lot. It's changed a lot real quick.
Yeah. So why do you think it's like that? I remember my dad, right? So this is back to him. Cause I grew up poor, as a matter of fact. So my dad always told me though, he goes, when I started to become an adult and I wanted the things, and when you look at your parents, you're like going, I should have the same things that my parents have because that's where you've grown up for 20 years, we'll say. And, you look at it and you go, man, I can't get an 85-inch television. I can't get that type of furniture. And I can't, on and on and on. You just can't do it. But you try to. And then some people will stretch themselves and even go into debt for those things, right? Just so they can live in a comfortable atmosphere. And I remember him very specifically saying, listen, you're going to have to, suffer. He says, because you can't be what I'm at 50 when you're at 20. It took me 30 more years to get here. He goes, you got to suffer a little bit and you'll understand what you're building and you'll be better off for it in the long run. that's a mentality that I brought into business. Like, on this is a new business. I can't expect to act like IBM or Microsoft. I've got to act like Mike's in the basement because that's where I was, right? So I wonder if that's something that can be taught or if that's something that's going to be experienced.
That's interesting. I think it's both. I had to learn about this sort of rapid growth approach. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing until there's investors basically pressuring you, or the potential investors are pressuring you and all this. So I think there's a lot to learn there, but it's a difference between knowing and understanding. Like, you can hear this, people can tell you, but when you understand it to your core because you've experienced it, that's when you can really execute. Because until then, it's hard to figure out. You hear conflicting messages all the time, and conflicting for you might not be conflicting for someone else, right? Like, so you hear these messages. How do you know which one really applies to you, which one to prioritize? A lot of that is experience. You listen, you take everything in, but it's like sometimes you flip a coin whether the advice is good for your business or not, right?
Yeah, that's true. So even back then, I won't even say back then, I'll say right around 20, built a company and had a partner, and we disagreed on hiring. Because that was another thing too. Back then, you'd like, oh no, you spend the money and go hire these people because they're going to help you grow fast. Yeah. And my plan was I wanted one person to help with marketing now, we'll say. And then in November, in that case, it was like 6 months from now, somebody to help with sales. Because that's the way the revenue model was starting to plan out. Like, oh, I can afford the guy then. Partner disagreed, made a different decision. We ended up with 3 marketing people and a director of sales, not just a salesperson, a director of sales. And none of them lasted 6 months because he determined we were going to have a cash flow problem with him on the staff. I'm like, going, okay. Your partner is cash flow Mike. I know how to balance these things. Maybe not everything, but these things I can work. So, but that's what it was. It was hiring as fast as possible and as many as possible. That's how you scaled, right? You had to have a bunch of people pounding the pavement or making the calls, or lots of advertising dollars out the door.
Yeah, and these are like the startups that relate the most to this tend to be like innovation startups, I'll call them. A lot of times it's technology, like digital technology. Sometimes it's actually like hardware or product startups. These are really high risk ventures as they are. And then you throw that sort of mentality and plan on top of it. And that's why 9 out of 10 die. And I'll tell you that with those startups, it drives me absolutely nuts because there's no way 9 out of 10 should die. These are supposedly seasoned VCs looking at these different businesses and going, these all make sense. Well, if they think they should all make sense and they have some experience looking at these companies, the success rate should be higher than that. So I'm hoping that the model is changing and it's hopefully it'll lead to more success. But there's all sorts of other things. Like, not all businesses have that, like that sort of, so many are just that they're built in more of a traditional area, owner funds, maybe a bank loan, get going. But even for those businesses, so much has changed in the last few years. The ability to be successful has changed so much. Like we actually, thinking back to pre-COVID, we went into a restaurant last night we'd never been to before, and it was a little family-owned Thai restaurant in Scottsdale. It was delicious. It was fantastic. But we walked in, and it was a very small place, and it was just streaming in and out. People coming and picking up their to-go, Uber Eats, everybody coming in, coming. And I think most people coming in were actually picking up their own dinner. They had pre-ordered it. You could tell that most of them are regulars coming in. And like, that wasn't a model pre-COVID. Pre-COVID, if you wanted more customers, you had to have a bigger place. And there were restaurants that we know in Edmonton that went out of business right away because they had a massive place. And when they didn't have enough people, they couldn't afford the rent. It's flipped now. It's like small, lean kitchen that you can move orders out of the location. So there's all sorts of industries have had these massive upheavals and changes in their models just in the last few years.
Hey, think about that, just the COVID area. I mean, it didn't just change the way the business operated. It also forced the government, at least in Texas, to change the way they regulated, meaning that there was so much pressure from like restaurants and all that to stay open that they wouldn't let people go into the restaurant. So everything was to go.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of their sales were in liquor. Like some of the Mexican restaurants here, had margaritas and all that. So they were selling, after they got approval from legislature to go beer sales. Well, as well as I do, once you get that approved, it's damn hard to take it away from people. So now there's to go liquor sales, from the restaurants in Texas that wasn't there pre-COVID. And that's burning the old playbook, saying, hey, we can't just be that strict because we got to keep these businesses in business.
Yeah. Well, and the biggest change was with the consumer, because the consumer initially was forced to shop from home, to order food from home, and now it's sort of like it's going back a little bit the other way, but man, people are so used to just order food or pick up food or order something from Amazon. They don't go to the mall to pick something up. And it did about 20 years of change in two. And that upends a lot of industries, right? Like just changes so much.
Hey, think about it now. If I see I can't get something for like 2 weeks, I look other places to see if I can get it sooner.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I just do.
I can't get it tonight.
2 weeks. Yeah. 2 weeks. What, is it, are you on a horse? What the hell?
Yeah. What, you mad? Yeah, exactly.
That's just how everything's changed. And that has to change the way you run your business, right? If you're the type of, like Dell making computers today would never happen.
No,
never happen.
Totally different. Yeah.
They don't even get into the market if they're trying to build custom computers today. People don't really care. Yeah. You should already have it put together. And if you are going to build it, you need to build it this week. Like you get the order and I need to have it by the end of the week.
If not, how come it's not here tomorrow?
Yeah.
It's hard for me to, the amazing part is it's hard for me to actually think of any sort of sector or industry that hasn't changed from somewhat to massively dramatically over the last 5 years. Like I'm not even sure I can think of one that really has remained untouched.
No, but I'll tell you one that's going to change again or should change again, right? Supply chains pre-COVID were just kind of all ancient, like it just kind of whatever it was. After COVID, we saw where the breaks in the supply chain were. Well, I can't get a mask. I can't get a, bleach. I can't get, toilet paper, those type of things. So there were breaks in the supply chain. So I think people started to put in redundancies, meaning I need to have multiple vendors that I can count on, right, to be able to bring things in. So that was the change after COVID, is people tried to put in redundancies and maybe change their order frequency or amounts, right, to have more on hand. Well, again, what's going on. We argued about it, but we didn't argue about it. But tariffs are going to be the same thing, right? Tariffs are going to do the same thing. They're going to force people to do things differently. And I don't know that you can be or have as many redundancies with the tariffs. I think you're going to go back to being less options with things that you can buy for the cost that you want to produce it at.
That'll be interesting to see, because when you're talking about that, even from the flip side, the supplier, they probably felt better having like 10 small customers instead of one big one, where everything rides in that one big one. And so it's sort of dispersed both ends of the supply chain, and it's probably brought a little bit of, maybe some confidence into there. It's like, 2019, I'll say like 2020, January, like that's when things started to change so dramatically. We're barely over, like we're 5 years in, actually we're 4 and a bit, quite frankly, like 4 and a third or whatever. Things are changing again and again and again. And it is a challenge for businesses to keep up. But I think right off the top of the show, you kind of hit the nail on the head is, you got to know what's happening in your dollars. You got to know what's happening in your cash flow. You have to know what's happening in your profit margin. You have to build in redundancies. You have to build in systems that are going to help alleviate some of your costs. Everything has changed, and now it's down to efficiency matters so much today. And, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, those details matter. I don't think it's as easy now to be that business where it's like, yeah, we got a bunch of revenue and we know we're profitable and we're kind of, we got cash everywhere and whatever. It just works out. At the end of the year, we see how much we made. I don't think it'd be like that anymore.
Yeah. We have a relationship with a company now, right? Our mid-roll sponsor, Magic Mind, who we've been together with for over a year, and I've seen their shift. They're 10 times the company now that they were last year, it was like November, December. More professional, getting things out faster, packaging, messaging. It's great stuff. And I don't know if you've noticed I'm a little low energy. I think I was yawning before I jumped onto this thing, right?
Yeah. What was the first thing I said is, dude, you need to grab Magic Mind.
Yeah. So that's what I did. That's what I did. I went right before this show and said, hey, okay, there it is. If you haven't seen what it looks like, if you haven't even been there, this is Magic Mind, right? This is the Magic Mind bottle. And because I'm low energy and I need to focus, I need to reclaim my brain, right? I'm going to reclaim my brain right now, as a matter of fact, because I want to finish strong. And I tell you what, when we take these in this house, this stuff works. It definitely works. They've got 2 different versions, one for sleep, one for, focus. And every time I take it, man, I get dialed in. So Magic Mind, here you go. It tastes great. It's a nice little shot. You can take it real easy. So on live TV.
And you're so lucky that Courtney is sharing with you too. Like,
I need to order. I need to order. I went in there. I'm like, oh, we got like 2-3 left. I need to order.
Yeah, there you go. Like you're to be bouncing off the walls for the rest of the show. And so you guys, if you want to try Magic Mind, because we've been with Magic Mind for a long time now, you can take advantage of a limited time offer. You can get 48% off a subscription. So you can sell like one-time purchases, but also you can buy one-time purchases. You can also buy a subscription. Subscription is nearly half price, 48% off a subscription, or 20% off that one-time purchase. So if you just want to give it a try, you still get a really great deal. Just go to magicmind.com/MikeandBlaine20 and at checkout, use the code MikeandBlaine20. But also check our show notes. It'll be written right down there. Go check them out. And like Mike said, there's ones that can really like keep you awake, keep you like they're really on the ball, and ones that can also help you sleep at night. So they're kind of hitting the 2 most important things.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, and it tastes great. I'll tell you, it tastes great. Hey, if you've ever had, and I keep telling people this, if you remember, you got to be my age, I think. There's these little plastic jugs of flavored drink. Right? They're called Little Hugs. If you've seen them, if you go look on Amazon or whatever, just look up Little Hugs, you'll see it and you go, oh yeah, I remember those. That's what it tastes like. So it's going to be great for you. You're going to feel great and it's going to taste good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, go check them out. Thanks again, Magic Mind. We love the support and and everyone go check them out. They're going to be, going to help you.
There you go. So, all right. So here was something else. We talked about supply chains and hiring and things like that. But the thing I had in my notes was, you said it, and that's what made me think about it. Customer distribution, right? And do you know what the perfect mix is supposed to be when I say customer concentration? You should have no customer larger than X% of your revenue. You know what that is?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't remember the number, but it's been a long time. So it's worth mentioning again. You mentioned on the show what it is, and I don't recall.
8%, right? That's considered to be the perfect mix that no one customer is more than 8% of your total revenue. So if you lose them, maybe you're going to lose 8% of your revenue, but it doesn't kill your company, right? So think about that. Here's what I saw the shift in was, you're talking about it. I don't care about selling more. It's about keeping customers longer, keeping them coming back, keeping them, the average value of a customer and your lifetime commitment to me, right? Because you're going to go back to that Thai restaurant? Probably so, right?
Oh, yeah.
It looks like people go back there all the time, right? So the lifetime value, they figure, and I saw John Taffer on Bar Rescue talk about, it was the third trip, right? It was the third trip that actually solidified somebody. So that's why it was okay to give away like a steak in the first trip, because you can get them back. Say, hey, if you come back next time, I'll give you a free steak, right? Because it's the first time. If you ever notice, sometimes restaurants will put like a pin or a different color napkin on your table. Believe it or not, watch this next time. If you see that happening, like the new customers get red napkins, everybody else has white napkins or something around there, or there's something different that happens. That's why they ask you at the front counter, say, hey, is this your first time in? Or the restaurant, the waiter will ask you that. Is this your first time? And they'll mark it differently. So they'll come back with an offer. Hey, if you come back again, let me buy you a steak. Right? Something big, or buy a chicken, whatever it is. And it's not big because to them it's like $5, whatever the cost of the steak is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you come back again, and if it's your second time, and they know it's your second time because you used the coupon that they just gave you for the free steak. Well, the second time that you come in, they say, hey, next time you come back, I want you to try our creme brulee, or try our pecan pie. Something small, little dessert that costs them maybe $1. They feel like if they get you there 3 times, you become a repeat customer that just doesn't give up on them. You just keep coming back because you had 3 great experiences in a row, and you didn't realize they did it, but that's how they hooked you in. And it was $6 cost to them, but the value of you over the next year is probably $500 or $1,000 or $10,000.
Boy, that is a good tip. Because we tend to frequent a lot of the same places. Like we try new stuff, but then when we find ones we like, we tend to be kind of regulars and sometimes super regulars, right? But I'll remember that. Go into a place and it's like, even if you're kind of regular, and say, is this your first time? Oh yeah, it is. Hey guys, I got some free for me today. How about a piece of pie?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying everybody does that, but that is a strategy that's been developed over the last few years. And I'm like this, am I going, is there a way for us to do that? Because I'm thinking about, what do I do next? Is there a way where I can identify new versus, there is a software. There's dates, but is there a way I can take that same mentality where, like, going, you're giving away things that are low cost, but high value to begin with, to just get them in. And you usually try to do that with freemium or premium or those type of things, but maybe there's a next step. Maybe there's something different.
Yeah, no, that's a interesting thing to kind of try and wrap my head around. Like I know with us, we're always talking about getting those first wins, getting those small wins, like getting, like it's just so important to build relationships and just work towards their success and get those wins. And that's everything, because it's so easy for someone to go somewhere else. So we're always obsessed with that. And then the challenge is, but once they become a customer, are we keeping up with them all the time? Are we keeping that relationship going? Are we still getting feedback from them? Are we still helping them out? Like, that's, you want them to become a customer and then be going like, hey, they're still there. They're still supporting me all the time. Right.
Well, and I tell you, that's my whole philosophy. People say, dude, why are you answering an email on Saturday night? Well, hey, I'm just sitting there doing nothing. So why not? Or, I'm watching TV or something, but I'm like going, because I have that, remember the philosophy I have on customer service called AURA, AURA, which is acknowledge, update, resolve, and approach. Yes. And there's time frames on that. And I'm like, even if I can't solve it on Saturday night, say, hey, let me look at that on Monday. On Saturday night that it went noticed, and to expect me to look at it on Monday. Yeah. And it could be that simple. But those are the things that people talk about me. They go, I can't believe it. I go to my own live events, and there's people telling other people about their experience with just, I was a Sunday night. It was like, 6:30 at night. And I had just think about this and I had this little issue with the product and he jumped right on and fixed it. Or he told me he was going to do it and it happened the next morning. Because people's experience now and their expectation is that when you have a problem, you don't know if somebody's going to answer. I just did it with a company, a support ticket. I haven't heard back. And that was this morning. We usually answer in a few hours. Well, a few hours from when?
Yeah,
from
exactly.
when you see it?
It's that like you said it, it's like so many companies have set a very low bar in a way. And you can knock it out of the park by just treating people right, getting back to them, giving them a bit of an update. You don't have to solve their problem, because sometimes it takes time, right? But like you said, acknowledge it, talk with them, build that relationship, keep them up to date on things. That's not the norm. The norm is I get onto a chat bot and have an argument with it. Give me a person. That doesn't sound like,
Yeah.
There's so many areas that the support and customer service is going down so fast. Like that's an advantage that we can, and it's also an enjoyable one because you like giving good support, right?
Yeah. One of the biggest shifts I made, outside of support is what I think differentiates me because I don't think anybody else would do it, right? That competes with me. But the other shift I made since 2020 to now is I went away from the loud message. I used to be the guy that would get up there and just be high energy on a stage or high energy in a video. And it was loud. It was exciting. It was all this. I was trying to get you, hey, look at me. That's really what I was saying. Hey, look at me. Look at me. And I stopped doing that and it became more clear, right? I went to simplicity, clear, and more me. So that way, if you see me in this video right now on the podcast and then we work together, you're like going, shit, that's the same guy.
Same guy.
Right?
Yeah.
Same guy.
Authentic.
Yeah. And I remember getting on stage a couple different times and Courtney would go, hey, not too much cash flow, Mike. And that's what it meant, right? Was I'm not out there a carnival barker. I'm not out there, that type of guy. Your brand should be expertise. It should be confidence. It should be, methodical, because that's where people feel comfortable with their money. They don't want the loud, guy that thinks carnival barker, I'm going to just steal from you.
Yeah. And it's setting those expectations. And, like we've gone through this with even our brand on this show and realizing like, yeah, this is just what we are. We like to be, relaxed and have a little bit of fun and kind of have it light, but still dive into some interesting topics. Right. But that's what stands out today, because everything else is loud and yelling at each other or about each other, or just even if they're in a great mood, yelling, right? Like it's all so in your face and they think that's how you get attention. I don't know. I think it's more important to just be authentic, be yourself, and treat people with respect, right?
Well, we tried the yelling thing. We didn't really yell, but we tried the confrontational thing. It doesn't work for us. It's not us, right? It doesn't feel right. It doesn't sound right. And customers don't like it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Those are 3 good reasons not to do it.
Exactly.
I mean, speaking of it, here's another change I made, right? I used to think that you had to hustle and grind all the time. And that meant like just always working and all that. But what I mean is I still hustle and grind, but I use automated systems to do it. I think I'm doing more hustling, more grinding with automation. I had a customer this morning onboarded into my program. She goes, "Yeah, you must have a massive team." I said, "No, man, I've got one other dude." I mean, but it was just everything happened whenever, 24 hours a day. It just happens. I answered one email on a Saturday night and says, "Hey, you know what? Let's take care of this on Monday. I can help you right through this." And all I did was send her one sentence with a calendar link. She booked her own time, jumped right on a call, boom, done. It was one sentence over a 3-day period, but she had emails and access to this. I mean, she had all these things that were happening around her that it made it feel like a bigger operation. Now, I'm not trying to pretend I'm a bigger operation, but I'm operating so I can handle scale. That's not pretending to be something bigger I am. That's just me trying to build in systems that work.
Yeah. Well, you also have to like spend your time doing the things that you're most effective at and that are most important for the business. And that's not grunt work. Like we all have to do some of that. But if we can automate things, if we can simplify things, if we can, like those are really important because you want to spend time. Like I want to spend time talking with people. I want to spend time talking with their customers, talking with new leads, talking with partners, talking with potential partners. Like there's a lot of talking in there, but that's what I want to do because those are really important. And that's something I have to do. I can't have a robot do that despite what people think.
No.
So what can I do to take the load off my shoulders for some of this other sort of, like I call it grunt work, but it's more just like it's tasks that aren't important for, like they don't take advantage of what I'm good at and what I need to do for our business to be successful.
Yeah.
So then if I can offload it, it's the best thing to do, right?
Yeah. And you're sticking to your knitting at the same time. I mean, you're just staying in your lane.
Just sneaking that in. Yep.
Ta-da! If you missed it right there, that was one of the secret phrases. All right. One of the secret words that we try to get in every single episode. There's still one of them out there. There's one hanging out there. And
there's one of them out there, but I'm going to say that, hey, I'm just going to suggest something here. If you guys want to leave a comment, chat us up on YouTube, chat us up on Facebook, chat us up on LinkedIn. If you want to suggest a secret word that we'll work into our chat next week, suggest it.
That's
we'll
a good
maybe
one.
Sneak that in.
I'm
sure I've told you this, that when I years ago, when I taught to some design classes at the University of Alberta, one of my a really good friend of mine, he was in the master's program as well. He was my teaching assistant for that class. There's other classes he would teach, and that's just how it worked. Right. And, before class, he would give me a secret word that I had to sneak into the lecture without straight face everything. And if I snuck it in, he'd buy me a beer after. And I'm like, well, free beer. Right. So I had some of the strangest ones I worked into the lecture, and you just did it with a straight face, and he'd be sitting in the back of the class, just trying not to laugh. And the one that I remember was I actually worked into one of my lectures, the whole shitteroony. You see a whole class of students looking at like, what was that? But it worked. I snuck it in and got my pint after class. So
that's funny. Yeah, dude, I'm just making it good. Right. So, I tell you, I mean, there's probably some times where it's super hard to fit it. I mean, there's times where we missed it on the show because it just wasn't a good fit. And when we force it, everybody knows. I think even the listeners know when we force it, right? Oh, yeah. We're just not a good fit. So I think that's what it is. So the last comment I wanted to make on this hustle versus systems is, I think maybe it's me in my 50s instead of me in my 30s, but burnout is a real thing, right? And too much of something can just burn you out. I mean, it's always, who knows, creating content, fixing bugs, answering client complaints or concerns or sales calls. Too much of anything will burn you out. So build some systems that help.
And it's not just, if one of them is, first of all, it's hours. Like when I ever hear of startup entrepreneurs, I do 70 hours a week or 80 hours a week. I'm like, man, you're not going to last long. Like this is beyond marathon, right? Like this is such a long haul. You can't be effective that way. Like for it's a very limited time that you can do that. So if you're taking care of yourself and you're making sure that you're giving your brain and your body some time to rest, you will do more in your 40 hours than you'll do in 70 when you're in chronic sleep deprivation and your brain can't function anymore. But it's not just hours. I think you hit the nail on the head, as it's shifts. It's like if you kind of are doing something and you're kind of moving along and doing, but it's when it's like, I got 50 different things and I got to shift gear. that can be absolutely exhausting as well. So just bringing a little bit of organization into it, to make sure you're just staying on target is can help a lot.
Yeah, man, that's so true. It's like, so my whole goal right now is to build and help other people build what I call a lifestyle friendly business. Because I mean, it's cliche. It says, hey, I don't want to, live to work. I want to work to live.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a lot more than that. My whole pattern. Now you're like, oh yeah, Mike, you're like pre-retirement. Well, I still got probably a good 15, 20 years in me.
You got a little room left.
Don't put me out in the pasture yet.
Yeah. You got a little time.
But it's more of a lifestyle now. It's the way I want to work, the way I want to work, not the way somebody else wants. It's the way I want to work, how I want to come to work. Like if I want to come to work like this is the way. I mean, like you. I mean, it's just like. This is the way I come. If I don't want to comb my hair, I don't comb my hair. Right? It's just part of it.
Me too.
Yeah. And I tell you, my whole mental, everything that used to bother me doesn't. It just doesn't. I'm like, and probably because I let some of that little stuff go. I just let some of the things that were impractical or were, what's that word? Where it's like an invisible barrier that doesn't exist. It's actually a barrier that doesn't
hopper,
exist.
I don't really know.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. So, but it's like some restriction you place on yourself for no reason, just because you feel like it has to be that way, and really it doesn't. Because I get on coaching calls like this, just in a sweatshirt, and it's the value I'm providing, not the clothes I'm wearing. It's the, value. It's a weird shift that I had because before, I remember I grew up, kid in the 70s, teenager in the 80s, state trooper, military. The way you look, the way you act, the way you talk mattered. It does matter, but it matters that it's me and I'm comfortable and I'm relaxed. That matters more now.
I want to see some pictures of you from the 70s when you're wearing like checkerboard pants and a yellow shirt or something. As I know they're out there.
Oh, that's so funny because I think there's a picture of me, my mom and dad. My dad had the big mutton chops. My mom was beautiful. And I got like almost a semi bowl, like Osmond cut, right? It's like an Osmond cut. I will put it on Facebook because it's funny.
Oh, I got to see that.
That's
70s were an odd time. It's a little BS here, of course, part of our show, but every era seems to come back all the time. And now it seems to be coming to the 80s. And I'm like, it pretty much skipped the 70s. Like I'm talking the real 70s with the world's worst colors and checkerboard pants and corduroys and that. Skipped right over that. And I'm like, man, shag carpet on the walls. Yeah. That's a decade that I think could just disappear and not come back, actually.
All right. So, all right. So I've got a 70s picture, but it's not the one I was thinking of. You want to see it?
I want to see it, but feel free to dig out the bowl cut too as well.
Yeah, I'll do that one. But here's me and my dad at my uncle's house. Let's see, where's that? Share. Screen. Where's that? Facebook.
Some real high tech there. Oh yeah, that is so 70s.
That's definitely 70s, right? That's so look at him. See, but in the one, this is me again. I didn't comb my hair back then. But the one I'm talking about, it's combed because we're at like Sears or something, get a family photo. So,
nice.
But look, my dad had the big mutton chops,
nice.
Mustache.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I had that shirt. It looks so familiar.
This one here.
Basically the same shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. That's totally, that is so 70s, man. So 70s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Nice.
So, but if I
you
find
guys
the
can't
other
see
one,
it, pop over to Facebook and check us out on Facebook. You can see that, that awesome picture.
But I have the other one. I think it's my favorite. So I just got to find it. So
I don't think I've got some old pictures, but I don't think I have any of my kid pictures. So I guess you guys won't be plagued with my 70s pictures, but at least I had hair at that point. And so
I had plenty of hair. I had plenty. So much hair.
Yeah. You still have hair.
I have
about that.
I have so many hairs now I can name them. All right, so I'll find the other one and put it up there. I won't make people go through the hassle or well, it's tough looking at me like this. Watching me search things. You ever watch somebody type something else and then they misspell or they get a backspace and they got to do things like that? It's so frustrating. I hate watching people search or whatever. So I won't make you do that. Well, good.
Appreciate it.
All right, dude. So what'd you learn? Anything you want to?
This is a good topic. And it's what was funny is when I saw the topic you brought up today, it's everything has changed, but it's like I'm in the state of now. So I just don't really think about it. And going back to thinking about where it was and where we've come from and where, to where we are today actually helps paint a path, like understand that, yeah, we got to keep evolving and where do we maybe need to go? So I think it was actually a really timely and interesting topic and conversation.
I think so too. I mean, to me, it's one of those things where I just couldn't believe it that everything I do is different than the last 30 years, right? Because it seemed like from 1999 to 2019, very little changed. From 19 to now, it's a whole different ballgame for everything.
Yeah.
Right.
For me, it didn't feel quite as dramatic because after I sold my last business, it was the same from 99 to 2012-ish or something. And then I purposely started working remote, and then we started going like the big changes coming down to the States and that, and for half the year. But we kind of turned into what is now the norm, a lean, weird remote company before COVID. So like when COVID hit, it was like, for us, it was kind of like, well, same stuff. We do this all the time. What was awesome is everybody else changed. So it made it so much easier for them to meet with us online and all of that. So dramatic change for us because everything around us kind of changed in a way.
Yeah. So I was always going to an office, or even when I had a home office to do admin work, I had restaurants, I had hotel clients that I had to go to, I had properties that I had to go manage, know, so it was always me getting out to a client or to a location somehow. Even at Fitograph, I had an office, right? That we went to an office. It wasn't until COVID where I went remote and didn't look back.
Yeah, it's true. But and even when I had a home office pre-COVID, especially like when I was in Alberta, because that's where all my contacts really are, I would be out meeting people 3 or 4 times minimum a week in the car, driving, going to meetings. And now I'm trying to sort of encourage more of that because it's really great to meet people in person. But it isn't the norm anymore. It's you're going back to backs all the time. So.
Yep, sure enough. So, hey, episode 186, we're going to put this one away. So I want to thank Magic Mind, all of our beer sponsors. And you can check us out. I know it's a Monday, so we didn't get a lot of live people. I'm going to assume. I didn't look, but
guessing.
Didn't get a lot of live folks. But it's important that you go check us out in all the different spaces. And where's this show? Where can they find it?
Well, it's on all the main podcast networks. So obviously Apple, Spotify, those are the common ones, but make sure you can check us out on YouTube. We got a bunch of shorts on YouTube, but LinkedIn, Facebook, we're going to be like streaming there live. We also will post after the fact. So you can find us in a lot of places. You can comment on a lot of places. And you can go to mikeandblaine.com and you can buy us a beer, $5, and you can be our next beer sponsor. Or like most of our beer sponsors, you can buy us more and you can buy long-term beer sponsors, like $5 an episode. So the best value on the planet for sponsorship.
You're talking like $200 for the year. You can't get ads anywhere like this for $200.
And no inflation since we started, no tariffs on our beer sponsors. It's just $5. It is like we are in 1920 or 2020 prices. You guys got to take advantage of that.
There you go. Now we'll have reciprocal tariffs. So if you charge us a tariff, we'll charge you a tariff. Okay, that was dope. That was dope.
I'm just trying to think of how that works with beer. But anyway.
Well, you couldn't. It would be zero tariffs. I mean, who's going to charge us a tariff?
Yeah, Mike, you just solved the entire global economic problem right there.
Let's just do away with it.
Reciprocal tariffs, and we're all good. And
we're all good.
Come and buy us beer for $5, and we will talk about you. So yeah, and it sounds like we've got a new one coming back, or an old friend coming back next time, which is awesome. We're gonna be excited to have him back. So yeah, make sure you join us next week. And I because I'm on the road next week, making my way home. That's why we're meeting on Monday, because I'm actually leaving later this week. So if you do listen to us live, yes, it's going to be kind of weird for a couple of weeks, but we will be recording and we'll be uploading as usual. So you can always follow us after the fact.
Right on. See you next time.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com. Then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.